Chris Lewis was one of the most talented, exciting players in the AFL during the 1990s. Sadly, while he plied his trade with West Coast, he often was the target of vile racial abuse. Welcome, Chris.
Yeah, good to be here, Mike.
They were exciting times, but they tested you along the way, didn't they?
Oh, look, they were exciting times. Yeah, had some ups and downs, but yeah, look, in the long run, it was quite an enjoyable time. But yeah, there were some bumpy roads.
Well, we'll get back to those. But your record, I mean, you've got to be happy with your record. 215 games, 3 grand finals, 2 flags and the best and fairest.
Yeah. Look, you look back at it now as you retire. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. Very happy. And like you said, everyone retires, and you sort of think maybe I should have done things a bit better or a different way.
Well, let's stay with that, because my view of watching you play was that your best years were probably 89, 90 and 91, and in 1991 you're all of 22 years of age.
Yep.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, look, statistically and on the record, I suppose they were my best years. Yeah, it sort of all happened very quickly for me. Yeah, I was just a young bloke, and then all of a sudden playing in the top comp and playing against some people that I grew up watching and playing in the middle and on the ball and having some quite good years. So, yeah, sort of didn't reach any more big heights individually.
But why not? I mean, you're at 22, you're one of the elite players in the competition, and most people would say that your peak comes at 25, 26, 27. Yeah. Why didn't you go on from there?
I could have probably applied myself in a lot more professional manner, I suppose, in what I was doing. And secondly, I think that the side became such an even unit that we all did our job, and we didn't really rely on any individual to play a super game to get us over the line.
With the footy stuff, did you get angry? I was in the press box, so I'm 100 metres from you and watching you, but I thought you had this exquisite skill, but you seemed to have a short fuse and get angry a lot.
Yeah, look, frustrated I think is probably a better term, and there were certain situations where my mind was sort of taken off the ball and the game and the reason why I was there, and I suppose I did look a little bit angry at times and yeah, got a bit frustrated, but that was just the way I played.
You said the quote was certain situations distracted you. What were those certain situations? Look,
there was times when things were said on the field by opposition players which probably was said to get your mind off the footy.
And did it work?
To a certain extent, I think it did. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think that sort of made me a bit of a harder, gilt-edged sort of player, which gave a bit back and got a bit and sort of just tried to get on with playing footy and doing the best you can.
So how did you deal with it? Did you let the anger build and explode and that motivate you, or did you have to talk to yourself about just keeping cool?
Oh, look, there were times when it sort of flowed out on the footy field, which you regret, but look, there's nothing you can do about that. That's history, and I suppose what I did try to do was bounce off my family and friends and people around me who were close to me who sort of appreciated me for who I was and not the footballer. So, those sort of people kept my feet on the ground.
One of those people is your father, Irwin, who played for Claremont, and I know some people who are in that team. I mean, Ian Brayshaw was one of those that team. They said he was subjected to some terrible comments on the field.
Yeah, look, playing in the, I think we spoke on off air that he was. Playing pre-67, which was, before the referendum came in and all that sort of stuff.
So the referendum was where the Indigenous people...
became citizens.
How bizarre is that in my lifetime, that?
Technically, he wasn't allowed to have a beer with the boys after the game. So, and I think that was a lot more blatant than what it was when I was playing, and definitely what it is today. So...
But how do you understand? I haven't lived in your body, obviously, but how do you understand it when people are vilifying you because of the colour of your skin?
Well, I don't think it was so much the colour of my skin. I sort of believe that it may have been a tactic to maybe not play at a level that I was capable of.
Explain.
Well...
You mean they wanted to get you angry
Yeah.
And they used the colour.
Yeah. And obviously not to... I think they might have seen me as a bit of a threat to them winning a game of footy.
Yeah, of course they would.
Yeah. So, and I think that was a way that they may have seen it. And back in those days, it was sort of a common sort of thing that would happen. What happened on the field stayed on the field. But
did you subscribe to that?
Later on, as I sort of drifted out of footy and retired, I probably didn't appreciate it. But on the field, it was just one of those things where well, if you're going to say that, well, we're going to do something about it. And sometimes it ended up in the tribunal room with getting a holiday.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
You knew your way to the tribunal, didn't you?
Yeah.
How many reports, Chris, do you reckon?
I think I was about 12 or 13.
You're warm. 14.
14, yeah. And 27 weeks or something.
23 weeks.
23.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a...
Do you excuse yourself for that? Do you say that there were things said to me and your circumstances were unique and therefore that's what the result was, the tribunal appearances, or did you lack discipline?
Probably a bit of both.
You knew we were going to talk about this sort of stuff, about the nature of the charges that took you to the tribunal. Striking, predictable enough. Charging. There was the biting one with Todd Viney. The eye-poking with Stephen McPherson. A spitting one and an umpire interference. I mean, they're pretty...
not good.
No, not good.
No. Oh, look, that's something that I do sort of regret. You know, that list of offences that were brought against me, yeah.
Because you're not a dirty player.
No.
I mean, you're a brilliantly skilled player, and I think your view was you just wanted to go out and play the game, but circumstances evolved that made you lose your cool.
Yeah. And I probably reacted in a way which wasn't helpful in terms of me, you know, getting my mind back on the track. But like I said, that's something that's in the past, and you really need to. I think if you can learn from it, and obviously help other players learn from that, well, you get some good out of it. But yeah, it's certainly not a nice line of reports.
Well, you had an ongoing battle with Greg Williams, didn't you?
Yeah. Me and Diesel were quite aggressive towards each other.
Quite aggressive.
Yeah. But look, you know, I've never seen Greg after the game.
So you've never seen him in a social context?
No. So, but I really appreciate him and I respected him because he was hard and tough and he was a great footballer.
So you went home and you went back to the fishbowl of Perth.
Yep.
And you didn't have that hour or two after a game in the 70s where the blokes would have a drink with each other and sort of work out their differences.
Yeah. And I think that was that had a bit of an effect on the relationships between us and Victorian teams, and we were playing good footy, and I think we were seen as a bit of a threat to stealing their thunder.
Well, so. You did. You were part of 2 flags and 3 grand finals.
Yeah.
When we talked about the discipline, Chris, your coach in your early years was Mickey Malthouse in the years of the grand finals. Pretty tough taskmaster, Mick. What would he say to you when you lost your cool during a game?
Well, it's funny you should say that because Mick really never said much to me. It was always left to Robbie Wiley or Ian Miller.
Yep.
So in terms of one-on-one, me and Mick really never spoke about too much.
Were you angry or frustrated when Mick made you virtually into a permanent forward, given how brilliant you'd been playing as that midfield forward role?
Yeah, look, it was a bit of a frustrating time because I did enjoy playing in the middle, and it was a good place to be because it sort of allowed you a bit of freedom. But Mick, being a disciplined sort of coach, you know, obviously when we didn't have the ball, he sort of wanted us to look after their opposition midfielders, which probably sometimes I may have lacked in that area in terms of my accountability.
I want to take you back to your father. You mentioned him before. Yep. Your father went to Christchurch Grammar, where you went, and your 2 brothers.
Yep.
He was a pretty good student, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he was. He was quite talented sportsman, but obviously on the school side of it, he was very intelligent. Duck to the school, which I don't think many Aboriginal people have been in that position.
Then went to uni from there?
Went to university, one of the, if not the first Indigenous person to to attend UWA. So, yeah, look, very, very proud of my dad and my family and mum and that. So, yeah, we had a quite a good upbringing.
So when you had been subjected to whatever it was on the footy field, or clearly lost your cool, he would be able to soothe you after it?
Oh, he offered some stern bits of advice.
About your behaviour?
Yeah, and also probably about the opposition.
Mm.
But we never dwelled on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dwelling on it, is there anything that was said to you that you still harbour and that you're still angry with, and the person who said it?
Oh, look, I try not to hold grudges. Things happen in the heat of the battle, and in those days, it was seen to be okay to do those sort of things.
There is something, isn't there?
Oh, look, blokes like Shorey and Dermott and Lyons and all those sort of guys.
So now we're not putting them up on the cross here.
No.
But Tony Shaw, Dermott Brereton and Gary Lyon, in the context of that time, would have not thought they were doing anything nasty, would they?
Oh, look, I couldn't really speak for them, but I think they definitely knew what they were saying. But look, at the end of the day, I'm happy with myself and what happened. Whether they're happy with them guys saying those sort of things, well, that's up to them. But
did any of those three ever issue an apology?
Dermott sort of publicly sort of said it a few times, and Gary, but I think that maybe because of their position in the media. You know?
So, and of course, this is a silly, ignorant white man's observation, but it clearly, those comments hurt you, didn't they?
Oh, they do. But then I'm sort of, on the reverse of it, I said, well, why are they, they probably obviously recognised me as a threat to them winning the game. So I sort of took it as a compliment that I could play some half-decent footy.
Yeah,
yeah,
and you did.
Yeah.
Explain the difference to me here, Chris. We've talked about what opposition players said to you and your brothers, right?
Yep.
What about, though, in the rooms? I know, like Troy Ugle, another Indigenous player, played with you, good friend of yours. The West Coast blokes called him Vegemite, didn't they?
Oh, only one fella, really.
Oh, only one?
Yeah, only David Hart. But look, at the end of the day, we're mates. And I think when you become a mate, you can have a light-hearted jib at your mates. I'm sure if Troy wasn't happy with it, he would have said something.
And what about you on Mad Mondays when David Hart might say some things to you?
Joof gave everyone a bit of curry.
Yeah.
So he was a team jokester. So you sort of laughed it off a bit. But like I said, Joof is a friend of mine and friend of Troy's and a friend of everyone at the club. And he's probably earned the right to be able to say certain things within limit. But
okay.
I'm sure if he steps outside the boundary, he'll get pulled up.
That probably the most celebrated of your on-field incidents was the encounter with Todd Viney, 1991 or 2, and you bit his finger, and he held the finger up, and then it was a front-page story over here, and you went to the tribunal. What was the lead-up to that?
Well, we'd had quite a big rivalry with Melbourne in those days. That was the big game, and there was quite a bit of feeling. I think it was a night game, and there was a bit of a contest, and I think if you look back at the footage, there was sort of 3 or 4 Melbourne blokes around me where I was sort of caught in a situation where you don't really want to be. So I needed to do something quick.
What, you mean because of the numbers?
Yeah.
Who had the ball? Do you have the ball?
Well, there was no ball.
No.
It was just a bit of a scuffle, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the media got into a frenzy over it and it became pretty big news.
How did his finger get into your mouth?
Well, I don't know.
Do you know?
No.
Do you think he put it there, or do you think you went looking for it?
Oh, look, his hand was in the vicinity, so whatever it was doing there.
Had there been anything said? Was there anything in the...
Oh, look, there was always things going on between Melbourne and West Coast. There was no doubt about that.
Healthy, normal, or nasty?
Unsavoury.
Unsavoury.
Yeah. But look, again, that was the way it was.
What about the Stephen McPherson one? Was there anything in that? That was
just a bit of a swing and a punch at Subi.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it sort of happened because after that incident, found out Steve-O could handle himself. So I was glad I got out of there.
What was the charge then? That was a charge of eye poking.
Yeah, well, Steve, it was a funny one.
But you were cleared of that, weren't you?
They didn't have any footage. They lost the footage.
Well, so you did do it?
Yeah, well, we was going sort of toe-to-toe.
Yeah.
And I think if I remember clearly, that the footage from Channel 7 in WA got lost. Yeah. So I think
someone from West Coast work at Channel 7?
Well, I don't know, yeah. But I think that's why I got off that one.
1987,
Yep.
West Coast come into the competition.
Yep.
You're 18 years and 12 days old, and you're playing in the first West Coast team to represent WA in the national competition. What are your memories of that?
Yeah, we played Richmond, which was, I think Tony Jewell was the coach.
Yep.
Yeah. And Mitchell was playing and Wilson were playing and these were guys that I grew up watching on The Winners as a kid. You know, they were the good old days in the VFL, and it was a nice, bright, sunny day at Seavey. And I think a lot of people sort of expected us to get rolled, and I think Richmond got the jump on us, and then we ended up coming back and winning by 20 points.
You loved your footy then, didn't you? As you should as a kid.
Oh, look, yeah. Look, I lived in a neighbourhood. We lived around a footy oval. There was about 10 of my good mates, and we'd play 4-on-4, 3-on-3. The full oval. And this was after school. So we just had a passion for footy. And those mates that I still see now, we get together and talk about footy and they just loved the game. But
when you finished, Chris, your love for footy had diminished, hadn't it?
The passion did, yeah.
Why so, do you think? You weren't old, you were 31.
I was 30.
30, yeah.
30, I think.
Yeah.
Just lost the drive and Judgy was coaching and I'd missed the previous year with a broken navicular
bone. So you missed 1999?
Yep.
Yeah, with the foot injury.
And the team had changed in terms of a few of my old mates were gone, teammates. And, yeah, just went to training one day and did a full training, then did a bit extra it was a bright, sunny Perth day and it was pretty warm and I was sort of driving home and I thought, I don't think I can do this anymore. So I had a yarn to Nezzy, Trevor Nesbitt, and then the next week I retired.
I'm intrigued about what happened in the mid-90s with you.
Yep.
You've played in 2 premierships, 92 and 94.
Yep.
3 grand finals in that span. And then you seem to sort of just lose your way.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah. Look, that gets back to the earlier point. I didn't really apply myself off the field. Now, it was a certain lifestyle in Perth at that time where you sort of, footy wasn't the most important thing.
Wasn't it?
Well, not what it is like today.
So what was Mick Malthouse saying to you at that time?
Yeah, me and Mick had a bit of a fallout there one day. And I played a year and a half at Claremont in 96.
Did you really?
Yeah, so...
Mick sent you back there?
Yeah.
For?
Well, we had quite a heated discussion one night after training. And for some reason, I got sort of put back to Claremont,
Do you not know why the coach sent one of his best players back to the Waffle?
Oh, look, I don't know. But
seriously?
Yeah, I don't know.
What did you say to him, Chris?
Well, I can't really repeat it on air, but I sort of told him about what I thought.
About the disciplines, or?
Well, no, just probably about my position at the club.
Do you think he undervalued? Do you think he undervalued your role?
Maybe. But I think he was going through a bit of a transition as well at that stage, and the team was. I think young Cuzzy was there, starting to come through, and some other fellas, and obviously, yeah. But look, we had a bit of an argument where I sort of stormed out and. Things were never the same after that. But in saying that, I respect Mick and the things that he's done for the club and footy. But
so this is what
1996.
1996. So you walked out of the footy club
at a training one night, or after training.
And said what? I'm not coming back, or
no. I just told Mick what I thought, and then it sort of. Things didn't happen from there. And I was playing good footy in the reserves, but never seemed to get the call. Or when I say reserves, in the Waffle.
So who told you that you'd been banished to the Waffle?
No one had been banished, so I just got dropped.
You just got dropped?
Yeah. But look, at the end of the day, we won the 96 grand final at the Waffle then. So in terms of something good coming out of it, there was something there.
1991 grand final. You are 21?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
You run out onto Waverley Park.
Yeah.
What were you looking for in the stands?
Well, no, I sort of ran out. I knew my mum was going to be there. And I ran out and there's 90,000 people. I'm thinking, oh, where's mum sitting, you know? Well, I should have been concentrating on the game.
Yep.
And in the end, you know, that sort of lack of concentration, but, you know, probably on my part, but I've never spoken to the other players about it. And I'm sure that they didn't have that, you know, they probably went 100%. It was all new. You know, Mick had never been to a grand final. The club had never been to, or Mick was playing.
Yeah, he played in the Premiership
20 years
team.
before, yeah. But as a coach and as a club, it was all just, it was all good and new learning experience, which we had the old adage, well, we had to lose one to win one.
Yeah. You believe that?
Well, I do, because next year, and probably 2 years later, we come up against our old mates down at Cardinia Park, and we always had the wood on them. You know, we had a great midfield, our forward line was good, and we had the backline players to cover Ablett and Brownless and all their stars. You know, and we sort of played really well against them, and especially the second one in '94. I remember sitting at Leaderville. We watched the game when I think they were playing North. Ablett takes the mark over the back of Mickey Mulder.
Yep. Mickey Martin.
Martin. And as soon as he kicked the goal, I sort of thought, oh, we'll win this. But I don't mean that in a cocky way.
No.
We were still a week out. We ended up winning by 86 points.
You're playing forward for most of your time at West Coast. You're playing in front of Kemp and Matera and those sort of guys. You rate your top three teammates for me, will you?
Oh, look,
in terms of their ability to win the footy and deliver it and just...
Yeah. Look, Peter. Peter's he would have to be number one.
He's my one, yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of just his ability to go into a contest and leave a contest at full pace.
And then kick at 60.
And sometimes wouldn't pass it because he'd just seen the goals.
Yeah.
But that's true. You know, Kemp, I was with Kempy when he first came to the club, and we had quite a good relationship. Him and Brett Hetty, they were lucky to be 65 kilos. You could put them on a horse at Flemington. And they become champion players.
Only three blokes in West Coast history have played more finals than you.
Yep.
You've got 21.
Righto.
Do you know who the three are?
Well, it's got to be Kempy.
Kempy's one.
Yeah, and then I think it must be McKenna.
Two.
And...
You're a good mate of number three too, can you remember him? Waterman.
Oh, Muddy. He's the third one. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So there you go.
Yeah.
What are you doing now? Tell us where you're at now. I know you're at Port Hedland.
Yeah, apart from the train driving with the mining mob.
Yep.
Basically, I'm involved with Inside 50, which is a player management company. And it's myself, Chris Waterman, Russell Waterman, which is Chris's brother, David Weir of Punda, and Cameron Reid, who lives over here. And the idea sort of got born when I was at the development side of Swans, and I'd sort of seen all Davey Allard, Nat and Newey, Aaron, Jeffrey Garlett, the two Jetta boys all come through and get drafted. And I sort of mentioned to Paul, I said, look, we should get a player management company here, you know, for two reasons. Obviously, to still be involved with footy, but also, you know, look after the welfare of these players.
Are you specifically targeting the Indigenous boys or not?
Oh, not really.
No.
But we'd like to think that we could offer some timely advice and support that may get these players drafted. And this was the whole concept when I spoke to Paul 5 years ago. I said, look, for every Aboriginal boy that gets drafted, there's 10 that miss out. So
of similar standard?
Yeah, or better.
Yeah, wow.
Just through circumstance. And that was my idea behind the actual becoming a player manager was, you know, not just to manage them, but to give them all the support and advice and help that they needed to get where they wanted to be. And since we've, you know, in that time, it's not just Indigenous boys, it's every young fella. And just that actual transition from becoming a school footballer to an AFL footballer. And these days, it's a lot, you become public property. You know, Benny Cousins came through at that stage. He was a school footballer that became an AFL player. And, you know, I think the system may have just let him down in the sense that he you know, you have no time away from footy. He couldn't go to the movies, couldn't go to dinner, couldn't go on holidays without being recognised. And unfortunately, we all know the circumstances.
Yeah, we do. Do you talk to Ben?
No, not really. No, I haven't spoken to Benny for a while, but when I do, I always say good day, but I don't keep in contact with him. But yeah, you know, I think there was two tragedies in our footy club. And
Chris
one was
Manwaring?
Maney.
Yeah.
Passing of him was sad because obviously he was having some issues which no one knew about, and no one still does.
Maney and the drugs had to be known to you blokes, didn't it?
Look, I never saw Chris do any of that. It was all hearsay. But if there was issues that Chris was going through, you know, I think that we probably could have spoke about things and brought it out on the table, which may have been the difference between him being here and not. You know, which you know, blokes as footballers, we don't do that. Blokes at the best of time don't do it.
Yeah.
And we need to talk about those things.
Did you feel that you were misunderstood when you were playing? That the public, people like us, had the wrong view of who Chris Lewis was? Yeah,
I think they saw what was on the field all the time. And look, I was angry, don't worry.
I think we saw you as a brooding, often angry individual.
But it's funny you say that because later on in our, in my career, we did have the times when we played a night game and we stayed in Melbourne. And, you know, you go out and have a beer and you talk to the mad Collingwood supporters that wanted to kill you 4 hours and they'd be all over you.
Yeah.
And they were great. And then I think once they gave you the opportunity to meet, you know, it's like today. We've never really spent...
No, and I was quite nervous, apprehensive about face it because I know Martin Flanagan's a great advocate of yours and a great writer of the football, and I could tell from him that he thought I'd been hard on you. So I was interested myself to see how we went.
In the 4 hours we've been together, I've been all right.
I love you, mate.
So look, that's all it is, a bit of time to meet what other people are like.
Well, it is great to see you. I genuinely mean that, and to catch up and sort of learn more of you. Like everyone else who watched football, we love watching you play. You're a beautiful footballer. Occasionally you did some things that confused us, but it's been a great career. Well done and good luck for the future.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Chris.
This has been a Fox Footy production, part of the Fox Sports Network.